bees are I don't know if you ever looked inside a beehive, but they're an incredible, inspiring creature. And when you look inside a beehive, it's like you see a human society reflected back, right? You see all these bees crawling around and sniffing and licking and dancing and communicating. And they've had a very special relationship with people for the last 30, 40,000 years. Bees and honey have been used as a kind of bridge to nature. And if you look through history, for example, you can see that in ancient Egypt, honey was more valuable than gold, and bees were sacred. So they'd gather honey in big pots and they'd pour it into the river Nile as a sacrifice to the gods. And by making the river sweet, with the river flowing out over their farms and fields, then they would unify the country and create growth and fertility and food for the nation. For the ancient Greeks, honey was also a very important sweetener and resource, but they were more scientific in their understanding of how it worked. So they had a kind of pyramid structure in their societies with a king who controlled the slaves and the workers, and they saw this reflected in the bees, and that's how their society worked. In the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century, the rise of capitalism meant that suddenly human society was very obsessed with workers. In Manchester, for example, which was the heart of the Industrial Revolution, the bee became the symbol of the city. The idea of toiling like a bee, of working like a bee, was reflected in our understanding of nature and of industry, with the workers who were producing profit for the capitalist. So you can see all the way through history we've reflected ourselves in bees. In the 70s, it was discovered that bees are actually not a kind of top-down organization, they're actually democratic. They make decisions by dancing and by discussing among themselves what the best course of action is for the collective. And that coincided with the rise of management and with the rise of the idea that organizations could be run in a more democratic way. So you can see today, when we're standing on the edge of a massive environmental meltdown and a society where 60% of jobs are going to disappear in the next 10 or 15 years as a result of technology, what is it that bees can teach us? And what direction can they take us about creating another kind of economic system and another kind of society? And that question is the kind of starting point for everything we're doing in this organization.